This is particularly the cats in the possession of a Georgiana Bridgerton. If you're some other cat, I love you. If you're not, hey guys, this is Angelina and welcome back to my channel. We're gonna do an August wrap up today. I'm gonna tell you guys all the books that I've read in the month of August. A good chunk of these are gonna be the Roguesby books, which are also the Bridgerton prequel series books. I read the first book last month and it was, honestly, I don't even remember the name of it. It's very forgetful. A lot of these feel like Julia Quinn really did Control C, Control V. They kind of all jumble up into a cocktail in my head. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so I'm gonna go over 3 of the remainder of the prequel series in this video. Also some of the other books that I've read in this month. So the first book I read this month is called The Girl with the Make-Believe Husband. The second book in the Bridgerton prequel series, it's about a girl named Cecilia Harcourt. So Cecilia, she is in a tough spot. She really wants to find out what really happened to her brother, if he's alive, if he's well, and her main concern is to be able to nurse him back to health if anything has happened to him. But she has little to no luck finding about her brother, and no one's really interested in helping her out. She takes matters into her own hands and she poses as the wife of Edward Roguesby, who also happens to be her brother's best friend. So she finds him, and Edward has recently had a very brutal head trauma and he doesn't have any recollection of what transpired in the last 6 months. So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna pose as your wife, and he has nothing else to do but to believe her because everyone else seems to buy into it. He has the head trauma and he remembers absolutely nothing. So he takes her word for it. He's like, okay, yeah, you're my wife. That makes sense because you are the sister of my best friend. I'm just gonna roll with it, I guess. And that sets precedent for the story, and you also find out how the two of them actually fall in love. And Cecilia also eventually has to break it to him that she has been pretending to be the wife and really they're not even married. I really liked it. I would give it like a solid 3.5 stars because there was an aspect in the story where they would write letters. So these letters would be correspondence between Cecilia and her brother. Edward would every now and then add in like little tidbits for her to read within those letters. So that's how they got introduced to each other. Anything with letters honestly just gets to me, you know, because I remember watching Shadow and Bone. In the show, Mal and Alina would correspond with each other over letters, and he would talk about her being his North Star, and I'm just like, it's very like The Notebook, but I don't really enjoy The Notebook. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. It's just, I don't know, I really hated Rachel McAdams in that book. Don't come for me, don't come for me. That's such an illegal thought to have. If they're all the Rotten Tomatoes in the comment section, feel free to do that, but The Notebook is just not my thing. Anyway, moving on. So the next book I read this month is called 7 Days in June. The story follows 2 writers. You have Ava and you have Shane. And Ava is a writer of this really successful erotica series, and Shane is like this enigma. No one really knows much about him, but he's a super successful writer as well. By chance, used to meet at an event. They get in touch with each other, again. They have known each other for a long time. They actually were madly in love. So that was about 20 years ago. And they kind of rekindle their romance again. Because it's a second chance romance, they kind of have to deal with the ghosts of their past. Everything that went down while they were together last time, they kind of have to fight their demons in order to be together again. I usually don't gravitate towards second chance romances. It's just not my thing, but this was just a beautiful book. It's about family, it's about trauma. Do check the trigger warnings for this one because it does deal with a lot of heavy-hitting topics. Overall, this book was a 4.5 stars book for me. It was just amazing, and I also heard this is getting adapted into a book, so I'm really excited. Yeah, Tia Williams, you are magic. This book was my break from the Bridgerton prequel series. And then, you know, I jumped back into the Bridgerton prequel series. So the next book I read in the series is called The Other Miss Bridgerton, and oh my gosh, this was difficult to get through. Like, I wanted to DNF this. At the same time, the content route after season 2 has been hitting me really hard. So I'm like, I caved, guys. I'm not proud of myself. I did cave. So I did read the book. It took me forever, and I was listening to the audiobook, and it was so difficult for me to get through. It's just something about this book. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So okay, let's get into what the book is about. So the book is about a Bridgerton girl. I forget her name. Her name is Poppy. I don't know what it is about characters named Poppy. I just despise them automatically. It's just like an auto blacklist name. This is one of the reasons why I did not enjoy The People We Meet on Vacation. The main character is named Poppy. Why? Why? Just why? It's a terrible name. I also don't know what the flower looks like. I probably should look that up. Poppy flower. Oh, that's actually a pretty flower. What an ugly name for a pretty flower. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so back to the book. So this book is about Poppy Bridgerton. She gets abducted by 2 pirates, and she finds herself on board this ship that's captained by a Andrew Rokesby, Andrew James, if I remember your name right. Yeah, so this is Rokesby. He's a privateer, and he works undercover for the British government, and he like gathers a lot of intel and puts himself in high risk situations and stuff like that. So this girl, you know, finds herself in the middle of it all, and they're setting sail for Portugal, and she is not very happy with the hand she's dealt by being kidnapped onto the ship. But slowly she kind of softens up to Andrew. Initially they kind of butt heads, and she's like, just let me go, and all that stuff. Honestly, I don't even remember much of it, but they kind of like mellow out to each other. Yeah, they fall in love. The end. I just don't like this book. I'm sorry. Moving on. Oh, I did rate it 2 stars. I did not like this book. The next book I read was the last book in the Bridgerton prequel series, and it's called First Comes Scandal. If you have the audiobook for this, you know what happened in the audiobook. I just have one word: cats. Her main character, forget her name. What's her name? Georgiana Bridgerton. Yeah, so Georgie Bridgerton. She is the proud owner of a whole bunch of cats, and the cats apparently have dialogue in this book. It's so weird. It was unnecessary. And all the plot with the cats, I feel like my whole life I've really been a closeted cat person, but I listen to stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm ready to cash in my Uno reverse card. I'm just like, no, I did not say that. I never said that. All the cat people in my comment section are gonna attack me. I'm sorry if you're a cat person and I'm offending you. It's just particularly the cats in the possession of a Georgiana Bridgerton. If you're some other cat, I love you. If you're not, hi. This was a very interesting creative choice on Julia Quinn's part. In this book, there is also an abduction. Wow, surprise. Georgiana gets abducted because homegirl is in the Bridgerton family, and they have, you know, dollar cash bills. So she has some nice moolah in that dowry of hers, and someone who is really on the struggle bus and struggling financially thinks that, okay, let's like kidnap her so I can get her dowry money. Georgie Bridgerton is caught up in the middle of the scandal, and she has to either A, spend her life as a lowly spinster, or B, marry the person who kidnapped her. So homegirl doesn't really have really great options, if you can tell. Enter Nicholas Rokesby. The Bridgertons and the Rokesbys are like bestie family. In fact, the whole Bridgerton prequel is called the Roseby series for this particular reason. So Nicholas, our dear man, poor man Nicholas. First off, homeboy is in med school, so he is going through it. Like, he is on that struggle bus. He's a busy bee. Look at that Bridgerton pun. I just sprinkled in there. He gets kind of forced by his dad to marry her to save her from the scandal. But this is a marriage of convenience plot in the book. He gets married to her and they eventually fall in love and yada yada yada. The end. And I finished the Bridgerton prequel series. Like, I'm happy I finished it, but at the same time I need my crumbs. Now what am I gonna read? I guess other books then. But yeah, cats. The next book I read is called It Happened One Summer. It's very popular on the internet, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And essentially it's about Piper. She is giving LA girl with a lot of cash money. You find her in the midst of a breakup. So she has recently broken up with her boyfriend, and Piper, our girl, she kind of goes berserk. She's like, I'm gonna throw a party, and she does a whole bunch of shit that kind of sends her to jail. And her stepfather is like, I've had it with you. I'm gonna send you to the fishing village that your father grew up in so you can kind of learn a lesson or whatever. So he tells her to get a job and like slum it with, you know, the simpletons and all that stuff to like really teach her how essential hard work is and all that jazz. So she is in this fishing town. It's called Westport. She meets this guy, this beanie loving sailor man. They start a love story. Piper also like discovers a little more about her actual biological father because she doesn't really know much about him. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't really like it. She was giving big dumb blonde energy. Then I read the next book in the series, which is called Hook, Line, and Sinker. I like this a lot better than the first book. The second book follows our second Ballinger sister. Her name is Hannah. She was in Westport in the previous book too. She has this movie project that she's working on, and she convinced them to film in Westport because it would kind of, in her eye, match the vibe of the movie that they were shooting. Enter Fox in his spare room, who Hannah takes up happily. So Hannah and Fox already have a little bit of a friendship going on. They text each other regularly and they talk about music and all that jazz, you know. Their capital P platonic friendship doesn't say capital P platonic anymore. Ooh, so I have read I'm Glad Your Mom Died. This book is super popular on BookTube right now. It's all over. Everyone's talking about it. This is the memoir by Jeanette McCurdy that's making the rounds around BookTube right now. And it's about her relationship with her mom. That's the heart of the story, and how her relationship with her mom influenced a lot of different aspects of her life. Getting into acting at a very young age, developing an eating disorder, body dysmorphia. It's heartbreaking, it's honest, it's a lot to take in at times. That should be all the books that I read in August. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!